The old saying of treat others as you would have them treat you is fine when it comes to respect, but it's really a case of treat others as they would have you treat them. That's the platinum rule, and that's the one that's necessary when it comes to communication. You have to talk in the way that they want to be spoken to.
This is the Business Owners Smashing It Online podcast for entrepreneurs and business owners looking for cool online tools, apps and strategies to make business easy online. My name is Nick Cree and I'm your host. Each episode features a guest expert demystifying the online universe, sharing inspirational ideas and providing tested real-world strategies to help you get the most of what's available online to grow your business today. Don't be a slave to your business, get your business working for you. Subscribe now and get some great content and ideas for you and your business today. All right, well, that brings us to this point in the evening where we've got our guest speaker, and today it's my pleasure to introduce you to Alan Stevens. So he's going to talk to us today about unlocking the secret language of the face. And using facial profiling to instantly know how someone thinks. So you've probably heard the expression about reading someone's mind. Well, tonight's one's about reading someone's face so you can read their mind. So Alan is an absolute legend in this subject here. In fact, he's almost, well, I think he probably has created the textbook in this. He's certainly got a system that he's developed over a number of years. He has worked with some large corporate organisations. He has worked with the police, which of course are an organisation that need to understand what people's faces are because they're in some very interesting situations sometimes. He's the creator of the rapid trait profiling. So he'll probably talk about that tonight. He has been described by The Guardian in the UK as the leading authority on reading people globally. So looks like he can transcend cultural barriers as well too. And he has worked with some very big names like Disney, Gillette, Australian Federal Police, as I've mentioned, and even some members of the royal family. So we are sort of one degree of separation from royalty. And he really is one of those people that is trusted by leaders and learners. So let's put your hands together. Let's welcome to the stage, Alan Stevens.
Thanks very much, Nick, and hello to everybody. Thanks for being here tonight. And by the way, Nick apologised about some of the problems we're having with Zoom. They were my problems. And so I'm about to share my screen. I'm not quite sure which screen is going to come up. So I'll just do that first of all, and we'll go from there.
Coming up.
Okay, as I said, tonight I just want to give you a little bit of background, so quickly to take you through what it is that I do. The main focus is going to be on the skills themselves. What are they? Why you need the skills and where you use them. But I also want to touch on a few areas that I'm working on at the moment, which are different questioning styles, the different types of yeses, the ones you want to get from your clients and the ones you don't want to get from them. What FOG is about, what CARB is about in the area of manipulation, and the power of no, where a no is extremely important in our communications, and the difference between somebody saying that's right and you're right. So next, please, Nick. As Nick said, that's my background there. So we're going to move through those quickly. I just want to go through these so you understand there's credibility behind what I do, because some of it's going to sound a little bit woo-woo. Next. The main reason that we read people is so that for better negotiations, but also to uncover deception. And it's all about building relationships. When people ask you, what do you bring to the table, talking about your products and services, the only answer I can give to that is I bring the table. No matter how good your products and services are, if you can't build a relationship, you're not going to get the chance to show people how good you are at what you do. So you've got to build the relationship first. Relationships, your products and services, all equally important, but the relationship has to come first of all. Next, please. Now, I've been using this in my business, yes. The Campfire Project is a place where men and women come together to share the stories they've never been able to share with anybody else before. For people to open up and tell me their deepest secrets has been a real gift. And the only way I've been able to do that is because I was able to read them and build relationships with them really quickly. Out of that came the Business of Smiles, which is a charity that works in the area of mental health. And again, we go out and talk to people in the streets, and to be able to get people to open up in a matter of minutes and tell us their stories as well, this is where the skills have come in. I'm also a director on the Montessori Primary School on the Central Coast, and presently training the principal there and at one of the preschools to show them how to read the children far more effectively. Okay, next one, please. And very quickly through that, it's been recognised in so many different areas. In 4 years, I've been awarded 22 awards, and they're from all over the world, in business, in personal life, in charities and other events. Next, please. Okay, your role as a leader is to raise others up to do the work that you're doing, and hopefully doing it better than you've done it before yourself. If you want to work on your business, that can only happen when you've got people in your business working in the business. They need to feel that they are valued, that they contribute, that they've got a place. And if you can do that with them, they will then go outside and, you can go outside and work on your business. This is another reason why you'll have to be able to read people, to be able to build those relationships, to feel confident enough to walk away from the business and know that it's not going to just survive in your absence, it's going to grow in your absence. Next, please. Now, when it comes to working with people, people will do business with you if you can save them money, save them time, and also save money, make money, save time, but also get the emotional outcomes that they are looking for. If you do that, then you become a problem solver. You're not a salesperson anymore. I need to actually talk to somebody, find out really what they want, why they want it, to be able to then provide that to them. And if I do that, then I'm removing their worry and stress. So if anybody has a problem with being a salesperson or using that term, think of it, if you really focus and connect with your clients, you become a problem solver. And by rights, you have no right not to go and sell to them, because if you don't go and sell to them, if you've got a good product and service, you are robbing them. But yes, and the layout on this has changed, of course, when we go from one platform to another. But that little symbol there, the ETM equals the ATM. The emotional outcomes plus the time plus the money you make to save them or you help them make equals the ATM, the money machine. So if you're able to do that, then you're giving the person the best service that they can receive. Next one, please. Okay, why you need to be able to read other people is, as a profile, I've learned that everybody is either suffered or insecure. Everybody wears a mask. Everybody pretends they're not wearing a mask. And we are all the product of our childhood rewards and sufferings. In other words, everything that's happened to us through our life, it's all made us who we are today. And that's what we've got to be able to read in people, to be able to connect with them at the deepest level, to be able to build those relationships. Next, please. Now, as I said, you have to build the relation first before you can transition through to the products and services where you can sell. That top section, being able to read somebody, know how to communicate with them in the way that they need to be spoken to, and they're getting confirmation so that you're making sure that you've read them right, is where the relationships are built. Once you've done that, then you can engage them and then you can influence them. But that top section, the read, communicate, and confirm, is the most important. Next one, please, Nick. Now you look at it, the recognize or read is at the top. This is where, the reason I went through my background and the things I've done was to, when we get to this section, I talk about the facial features being, I can look at your face and I've got your personality. I can look at your photograph, your LinkedIn profiles, your Facebook pages. Wherever I can see your face, I have your personality. And I'll explain how that works in a moment. But from your facial features, I know how you like to take information in. I know how you like to process it. And I know how you like to respond in any given situation. So I can now structure the communication with you so that I connect with you in the way that you need and want to be connected with. The old saying of treat others as you would have them treat you is fine when it comes to respect. But it's really a case of treat others as they would have you treat them. That's the platinum rule. And that's the one that's necessary when it comes to communication. You have to talk in the way that they want to be spoken to. Once you've recognized them through their facial features, you've got the body language. Sorry, the language, first of all, you can change the way you like to be spoken to match the way that they need to be spoken to. And then the confirmation side, we've got the body language and what we call micro expressions, little twitches on the face that will tell us somebody's personality. But as you notice, everything's in threes. To get the facial features right, how they receive it, how they process it, and how they respond to it. Then lets you know how much detail they need in the words that you give them, the order that you give it to them, and the style. Is it laid back? Is it more regimented, etc.? And if you do that, you'll build trust with them very quickly, and you'll get the feedback whether you look at the confirmation, because you've got the looking at things in clusters, not just one trait on its own or one indicator, but a number of them. They've all got to be giving you the similar indication. They're all pointing in the same direction, so to speak. They've got to be congruent with what we're talking about. They've got to be in context with it. And if you do that, then you'll get the feedback that you need. Next one, please, Nick. But we'll go in reverse order. We'll look at the body language and the micro expressions first of all. And we, as I said, read them in clusters. Are they in context, and are they congruent with what you expect? Next one, please. Now, when you look at body language, there's a whole massive different things. There's the eye contact. Do they look you in the eyes? Some cultures don't. You need to know what that culture is likely to do. And then you look at that person and go, are they congruent with that? The facial expressions will give away so much information. The tone of voice, the posture, and the gestures that they have with their body language. Some people will touch. I've got a good friend of mine. Every time I'm talking to her and she's putting a point, she'll put her hand out and touch me on the arm. And she does that with everybody. And that's something that has become part of the way she communicates. So picking up those things and looking for changes in what a person's doing. The intensity of their movements, their voice, their response to the timing of things is important as well. The sounds that you hear, the inflections in their voice. If somebody is excited, their voice usually goes up in tempo and goes faster. If they're relaxed, they're breathing more from the abdomen and they speak slower and more relaxed. Next one, please. Now, this one I really like. This is in the blink rate of somebody's eyes. People will blink at a particular rate. It's usually about 8 to 15, I would call it blinks per minute. But if they're getting excited, they'll blink faster. They'll blink more regularly. It's like when Bill Clinton was asked whether he had done anything inappropriate, he went from about 15 blinks a minute to about 120. That was really rapid movement. Also the shutter speed, as we call it, when the eye closes and opens up again, how fast was it when you first looked at them, when you're in a restful state, you're chatting with them? And then when they speak, when you're talking to them, you're getting into something that could be where they're trying to hide something back, the speed of the blink will be faster because they want to have their eyes open to see whether you're picking up whether they're telling the truth or not. So they'll blink slower, but the blink itself will be a faster shutter speed, open and close. Next one, please. Okay, sorry about the scary faces there, but there are 7 expressions which are universal. With the face can pull over 3,000 expressions which they've actually mapped. I've got a book here behind me called FACS, F-A-C-S, Facial Action Coding System, which looks at the muscle movements of 3,000 different expressions. They believe, though, the face can pull about 10,000. But these particular ones, those 7 expressions, and you'll notice that happiness has 2 different versions. You'll have that social smile, the smile you give your auntie when she's given you a pair of socks for Christmas, you know, that's what I wanted, thank you very much. The Doshime smile is where the whole face goes into it. You get those wrinkles at the corner of the eyes. That's when somebody is truly happy. So if somebody's feeling anger, they're going to have that expression on their face. If they have the feeling of contempt, then they'll get that expression on their face. So what you're looking for is variations of those. Now, a micro expression can be as fast as 1/5 of a second down to 1/25 of a second. It's just like the click of the fingers. but the human eye can pick it up. And I'll ask you this question, something to think about. How many times have you heard somebody speaking, everything they said sounded fine, but you had that gut feeling something wasn't right? If you have, just put that comment in just put a yes or a Y in the chat box so that I've got a bit of an idea of how many people actually pick that up. I'll just move the chat box where I can see it here on the other screen. Yep, that's right. So what actually happens is unconsciously you've seen something on someone's face and you've reacted to it. And that's why if somebody says something and we don't feel right about it, we will never trust them. So you've got to be careful in your expressions and everything, because what you're portraying the other person will be picking up. If you're trying to conceal something, the face will leak information. Anybody who's got the ability to read these will be able to do it really well. When I first started, I wasn't very good at it. But at a 1/10 of a second, by the time I'd finished, it was only a couple of hours of training, I was 96% accurate. Anybody, all of you on that, by the way, I'm looking at you guys on another screen over here, so you're looking at the side of my head. That's why. But one thing you'll find is that every person as a child, except for a very small percentage, were expert profilers. We needed to be able to recognize faces. We need to recognize who was family, who was mum, who was dad, also who we shouldn't be around. And the expressions, we had to be able to pick up their emotions to know whether they were happy or sad. So if it's somebody you shouldn't be around and they're looking angry, the indicator was get out of there as quickly as possible. If it's a family member who's angry, you might want to go and find out why they're angry. What's upset them? So every one of you, and that is young children, were expert profilers. But as we get older, we get involved in all the other things that we're doing. And the end result is that, like any muscle, if you don't work it, it atrophies. All I really do is teach people how to get this muscle back again and be accurate with it again. Next one, please, Nick. So when it comes to the questions, there are 3 types of questions: open questions, probing questions, and closed questions. We know that closed questions are your yes and no answers. What do you think would be an example of an open question? What sort of words would you use? If you'd like to stick some answers in the chat box, that'd be brilliant. Yep. So you're looking at the why, what, where's, and how's, etc. They're actually not open questions; they're probing questions. Just go to the next one, please, Nick. Your open questions start with explain, describe, or tell. It makes it really soft for somebody who is, when you ask them a question, they will then tell you what they want to tell you. This is where I really watch their body language and their expressions, because they'll be really comfortable. Then the probing questions is where I go and start the questions with the 5 W's and the H. Why, what, when, where's, and how. When I ask those, I will also bounce around. I'll take them forward, then I'll take them backwards. And in moving them around, this is where they start to get more nervous, because now I'm starting to get a bit closer to the full truth, and their body language and their expressions on their face will start to leak the real truth. You'll start to see variations in that. When you get to the last 2, the yes and no, that's when you really nail them at that point. That's when they really start to get very nervous. So by going through that process of open questions, first of all, then using the probing questions. And if I might say, rightio, well, as you were saying, at that point when things were almost completed, that would happen. Well, come back here over here, then I'll bounce them over somewhere else, because you can't create a lie from the end back to the beginning. You have to start at the beginning and work your way through. But if you bounce all over the place, the people can't keep their mind and locked in on what you're doing, what they're doing. Next one, please. Okay, reasons people say yes. Now, with this, the right side is the main one I look at. We're going to go into that just a little bit more in a moment. But FOG, which is fear, obligation, and guilt. CAVA, which is control, approval, and validation and attention. But then also the diffusing the manipulation with empathy. I go into these a lot more in some of my new online courses that are coming up, but also in my master courses. Next one, please, Nick. So as I said, the fog, fear, they play on your anxiety to create doubt or urgency. If you don't do this now, we could lose a client. So they're pushing in that way. Obligation, after everything I've done for you type thing, making you feel obligated to them. And the guilt, I guess you don't I don't matter to you anymore. That sort of thing. We get it from some of our partners. We get it from our children. Some parents do this with their children in the other direction. And we wonder why we have problems. Next one, please, Nick. So with that, now we go into the yes and no's, the yeses, I should say. 3 types of yeses. How often have you been told when you get into a conversation in a sale with somebody, go for yes. Get as many yeses as you can. How many times have you got to that point the person said yes all the way through, but then when you get back in touch with them again later on, they disappear. You get crickets. They don't get, they don't come back to you and you can't contact them. That's the counterfeit yes. That's a fake yes. They've actually said yes just to get you to shut up and move on. The next one up from there is the confirmation, is the interest and confirmation that they're interested. The last one, the very one on the left, is where we want to get that commitment. That's when they're ready to buy. Next one, please, Nick. So this is what you need to realize in a negotiation, excuse me, you need to get a no first, but it's knowing how to get that no in a way that it starts a conversation. So that person then will then start to tell you more information. And at that point, you're able to get through to the final solution much faster. These are techniques I'm bringing in from that's the FBI's way of hostage negotiation. It's part of their techniques. And I'm just adapting that now to businesses as well, and also to relationships. Next one, please, Nick. Now, if somebody says to you, you're right, that's a problem. The last thing you want is somebody telling you you're right, because what they're doing there is they're not taking ownership of anything. But if you can get them to say, that's right, you're now in agreement with you about that particular object, that thing you've been talking about. So they're things, I'm just throwing a few of these in. I want to go through them quickly. It's a bit out of place from what I had originated because of the time delay, but that's something else that there are a couple of things to take note of that you're looking for. There'll be more information you'll be able to get from my website on that when you want to go and have a look. Next one, please, Nick. So, well, actually, we'll go through 1, 2, 3, go down, go next. And that one there, yeah. So I want to get into the facial profiling with the facial features, because then when everyone's on screen, I'm going to drop the share and we're going to have a bit of a play there. And I want to get your feedback on it, so you'll see how this works. The facial features tell us a person's personality. It doesn't tell us what they're thinking. It tells us how they like to think and process, how they like to be treated. Because if I talk to somebody who just wants the overview and I give them all the information I need to make a decision, they're going to switch off. So I need to talk to them in the way that they need to be spoken to. So next one, please, Nick. And how this works, the brain controls our muscle movements. What we feel inside, we express outwardly. So if you're thinking in a certain way over and over again, you're going to pull the same expressions on your face and you're working the same muscles. And in doing that, you're going to create ridges and crevices on your face that are going to give away how you like to think and process. Next one, please, Nick. This particular gentleman, I've got a couple of quick examples to go through. This particular gentleman is a business coach over in Perth. He sent me 5 photographs. I sent him back a 45-minute audio telling him what I could see in the traits and how his buttons would get pushed and how he could use it to his benefit. That was when he told me he was, as a business coach now, he's working with the SAS leadership teams. And before that, he was an undercover narcotics agent. And for 2 decades, he used skills that he believed were up to 95% accurate. the fact that what I put into the audio not only matched but nuanced everything you learn about himself in those 2 decades. That's how accurate and powerful this is. Next one, please, Nick. Now, Kylie, and hopefully this won't, I don't think you'll pick the video up on this. Kylie, I profiled her son when he was 6 years old. 13 years later, when the school had said to us, first of all, they didn't want him. They wanted him medicated. The psychologist said he would never be able to work like anybody else. He would need a carer for the rest of his life. After I profiled and gave her advice, she played the school against the after schools care, telling each of them that the others were doing it. And if they didn't do it, it wouldn't work. It would be on their heads. The end result, a year later, he was doing presentations in front of the class. Another year later, they let the psychologist go. He's now 19. Well, actually, now he's 20. At this point, he was living in Queensland on his own, got his own place, got a girlfriend, and was in line to be an assistant manager in a nightclub. This year, he is now the assistant manager in that nightclub. So it's another reason why I love doing this, especially with parents who have got children and working with school teachers, so the kids don't get over categorized, put into boxes, and so they don't fall through the cracks. Next one, please, Nick. There we go. And Caroline's a college lecturer over in Dublin. When I started training her at the master course, we just finished the training, and that term, another school had closed down, and she went from 7 students to 70 in a class, and most of them with conditions like autism, Asperger, etc. And she's been able to get them working in teams. I'm now training her so that she can train the other school teachers in the skills that she's learned from me to make their life easier as well. Next one, please, Nick. On this one, in the chat box, if you have a look at those faces, which one looks to be the most confident to you out of 1, 2, or 3? Just put the number in. Okay, as you can see, different numbers coming through, but the bulk of them are around 3 and 2. Okay, which one looks the most trustworthy? And just ask yourself whether you've selected the same number for the confidence and the trustworthiness. Yeah, and most people will. Now, the thing is that the width, and by the way, all I've done with those faces, the middle one is the original person. Number 1, I've pushed it in a little bit. Number 3, I've pulled it out a little bit, widened it. So the ratio between the eyes and all the rest remains the same. The only difference is the width of the face. We usually see people who have got a wider face as somebody who is more confident than other people. I know that if I'm working with somebody, or say I've got a team of people, and we've looked at it with a lot of people there have said number 3 was the most confident. Okay, if I've got 2 people in my team, I've got to do a presentation, but I can't do it for one reason or another, and one of them have to do it. Both of them know the product equally well, but neither of them have done a presentation before. The one I'm going to give it to is number 3. They're going to feel more confident. Everyone's going to see them as more confident, and they're more likely to handle that job a lot better. However, if I've got a problem within the organization, I've got to find a new way of doing things. I'm not going to give it to the wide-faced person. I'm going to give it to the narrow-faced person. The reason being that they go away, they look at something, they agonize over it. When they learn something for the first time, they do not go out and tell everybody about it. They go away and practice it. And so that person, if I give them the job, I know when they come back, it's like looking at, say, Jenny over there on the screen. Her face is not as wide as, say, Stephen's, for instance. So I would see her as being the one who would probably put more work into thinking about things and getting it right. And sorry, guys, by the way, if I'm looking, I do this with respect because there's nothing wrong about any of the traits you have. You have traits that were passed down from your parents, and you have the traits that you have developed in response to your environment. So the traits that you have are perfect for you. By knowing the upside of your traits, that's where your strengths are. This is where we go and do the things that we love doing. If we know the downside of our traits, we know how we get triggered when we're stressed. So therefore, set our environment up so we don't get stressed. The most empowering thing I found when I first went through this was to find where the downside of my traits were. and my life changed completely. All the things that used to push my buttons, they don't get the opportunity to push my buttons anymore, because I set my environment up to make sure that I don't go into those situations. Next one, please, Nick. Now, as I said before, the first thing we always see in people's faces is the width of their faces, but we also see the height of the eyebrows, where somebody's got really high eyebrows and other people got very low set ones close to the eyes. The other thing is we've got wide or close set eyes. We see those, they really stand out on people as well. At the same time, where you can see the number 1 and number 2 down the bottom left-hand corner, there's the exposure of the eyelid. Now, if I look at those, number 1, where you can see there's a fold of skin, a bit of eyelid, and then the eyelash. The bigger that area is, in some people, they don't have it at all. There's no actual eyelid or fold of skin near the eyelid at all. These are people who just want the overview, the least amount of information. Whereas somebody who's got the, like number 2, where the eyelash goes up underneath that fold of skin, they're the analytical people. They want more information. And I'll come back onto these very quickly in a moment when I get off the shower. As far as the wide set eyes go, the person who's got the wide set eyes, shiny, easily distracted. They make great bosses because they're always happy to have an open door policy. Somebody with close set eyes, when they're working on something, just doesn't want to be interrupted. Just leave me alone. When I was currency trading, for instance, I would make sure that I was set up where I didn't have any interruptions. People around me knew that what I was going to do, to leave me alone so I could focus on what I was doing. Because when I'm working on something and it's a bit of stress with it, the last thing I want is anybody coming and ask me what's going on. That puts me off. Whereas somebody who's got the wider set eyes is more laid back about it. Next one, please, Nick. Okay, I'll just go through a couple of these and just get off the very quickly. This is something that you'll be able to, the links will be given to you at the end here. But this is a free course you can go in and you can jump on and find out how this works, get a couple of traits you can try for yourself. As I always said, the proof of the pudding is in the eating. I could be up here telling you all this wonderful stuff, but you don't know how well it works until you get a taste of it yourself. So that free course is there for you if you want to jump. It takes you 28 minutes to go through. Next one, please, Nick. That one is the same course again, but it has a whole bunch of downloadable sheets with it that gives you about 8 different traits you can go and test and play with. So more, the other one's got 3, this one's got 8. Next one, please, Nick. The things I'm working on at the moment is getting more into more in-depth reading of people, because we've got a lot of coercive control happening now. We've got a lot of domestic violence. We've had an increase in the number of people that fit into the sociopaths, psychopaths, Machiavellian and narcissist categories. I'm doing a lot of work around that area. So the new master courses will be covering some of that. Next one, please, Nick. And that's some of the makeup in there. Some new traits. This one, as I said, your facial features don't really talk about your character. They talk about your personality. But I'm working on the eye shapes. There's 15 different eye shapes. There's also the color of the eyes and some new information I'm putting in, which will give you an idea of whether this person's somebody you can expect to be loyal, somebody who might be a bit coercive, somebody who might be a bit cunning. So we're working on that aspect at the moment. The art of negotiation is the FBI's hostage negotiation techniques. The proactive awareness is what they call left of bang. It's body language that works on the proactive from the war zones. Be able to recognize something and be proactive towards it before the event happens. So before something goes wrong, be able to pick it all up well in advance. And the last one is then working with people who manipulate. That's right, Nick, the next one is fine. And that's what I wanted to leave off at this point. Same website, so I'll link to the free course because you'll find it on that particular page. But with that, save 30, that's the coupon code. If anybody is interested in any of the courses on that page, they can get those for 30% off. Okay, just stop sharing, please, Nick. Okay, that's better. Now I can see you guys. Okay, so that was a rush job, and I'm very sorry that because of the problems we had before, I would have taken more time with that. and we would have had more time here on screen. But is everybody okay if I look around the screen and tell you what I'm seeing? Okay, excellent. And by the way, this is where you can turn your microphones on. So if I do say something, I'd love to get your feedback from you. Okay. Well, looking at Vlad, for instance, would I be writing saying, Vlad, that when you've told something, you like all the information? If I just gave you the overview, just the least amount of information, you'd be wanting to ask me questions. And once you've made your decision, it's just give me the best way to do it, get the hell out of the way and let me get it done. So getting into the action, you don't want to waste time.
Yes, that would be fair. Excellent.
And at the same time, I know that he's going to have a lot of questions up front. He's got that analytical trait, but as you notice, and the way we measure the face is from the chin to the turn of the forehead. And you might see a bit of a glare point from my lights up here on my forehead. And the width of the face is at the side of the eyes. Doesn't matter what, if I put weight on here at all, it's the distance through here. And you'll find that this area doesn't really get fatter or thinner with age or with putting weight on. It stays pretty much the same. So when I look at that, I look at the width there to the length of the face, and I can see that Vlad's got a reasonably narrow face. I can see that, well, Jodie's also got a narrowish face, but square. So what she has is a level of authoritativeness. So people will see her as an authority. When she's doing things, she'll like to feel like an authority as well. If I look at Jenny, now we're first of all with Vlad, that we see Gordon, looks like David as well, from what I can see. Then as you can see how small David's face is on screen. And also with Bruce, he hasn't got his camera on, but I can see he's got the same trait. Nick's got it as well. That's what I call aesthetic appreciation. It's how things feel inside. So when you're working on something, you don't need people to come up and ask you what's going on. Whereas in Jenny's case, though, she's got what I call dramatic appreciation, puts a flair into everything she does, but also when she's stressed, she'll talk about it. She'll want to share it with people. Jenny, can you tell me, do you have a partner?
Yes. Whoops.
Okay. Righty-o. And what was that?
Yeah,
sorry, Nick?
Sorry, Nick is my partner.
Right. Okay. So, okay. Righty-o. Yeah. So when you've got your partner's got aesthetic appreciation and they go quiet, it's not a case of you going over and asking them what's going on. You find that when they withdraw, okay, what you need to say is, look, first of all, I've got two questions for you. Number one is it anything to do with me? If he says no, is there anything I can do to help you? And if he says no, then you just say to him, look, I know you need to work on this on your own. I'm going to leave you alone to do that. But once you got it to that level where you can talk about, come back and tell me because I care. Because that way with the first thing where you say, right, okay, go and do it yourself, you're not giving up. By adding that last bit, he knows that you actually care and he can then open up with you. However, when he's talking to you and you're stressed about things, does he pull back? Yep. So it's a case of, good one, Nick. Yeah, no, the truth is in her face, not yours. So, Nick, what you would actually do is you would say to her, look, I just want to know, is this something you want me to fix or do you want me to just listen? If she wants you to fix it, then one of two things. This is something that's come up, she just knows you have the ability to fix, or you're screwed up in the first place and she wants you to fix that. If she says, no, I just want you to listen, if you care and you know it's got nothing to do with you, hold a space. That's what it's about. And that way she can then express herself, let it out, and there's no problems. See, the thing that got you together, the physical traits that you have, the personality traits, they're the things that brought us together. But as I said, every trait's got an upside and every trait's got a downside. So the excitement with Jenny is vibrant, exciting, life of the party, that sort of thing. So the great energy. But when she does stress, it would also come through with great energy as well. You get used to the upside to a point that now you start to notice the downside. And the thing is, she hasn't changed. Your awareness has changed of each other. That's all that's happened. So if you know that that's the way their personality is, and I change the way I like to speak to them, you've got the spice back in the relationship. Does that make sense? And if I'm looking at Stephen, for instance, I can see that Stephen also likes to have all the detail. Get the detail right, because if you give him information, he's going to analyze it, yes. Whether he uses all that information doesn't matter. He just needs to know you've given him everything. There's nothing been left, because if you don't, he's going to wonder what's going on. Have you withheld anything? So is this making sense to you? You can see the power of being able to look at somebody, know their personality straight away.
Hey, Alan, are you there?
Yep.
Good day. My name's Paul Kennedy. I just think you should send Jenny and Nick an invoice each.
The number of times people say to me, the money's on the fridge.
I was laughing and laughing. Thank you so much. And I mean, I'm not sure whether you knew what you were doing. I suspect you did, but I definitely think both Jenny and Nick owe you some money.
It's good to have you on my side there, Paul. You can be my agent anytime. Thank you. Well, just as we were talking then, and Stephen turned his head just that slightly around, Stephen's chin sticks out a little bit. That's tenacity. Stephen gets his teeth into something, he's not going to let it go. Some people give up 5 minutes before the miracle. Stephen's going to keep going. He will get to the end of it. And in some cases, probably go beyond where he should have gone. So with Stephen, it's a case of just thinking every now and then, is this something that I really should keep pushing? But I guarantee you'll never give up before you get close to it anyway. And I can see that Monica's got a bit of an adventurous flair as well. So I like to try new things. And with Colin, there's a dry wit there. Now, anything you throw at him, he's going to be able to throw it back at you, the same as Paul as well. So that dry wit. So I know that if I'm talking to Paul or Colin, I can be a bit flippant and be, very casual conversation with, let me see, a bit hard to see on here. Well, if I look at Sabrina, very self-reliant. Give her a task and she's happy to work on her own. Give it to her, get out of the way and let her get it done. So very much happy to work on her own to get away we go. And I think I've probably gone beyond time there, Nick. Is that right?
Well, you're doing really well, actually, Alan. This has been revealing. I'm feeling a little bit vulnerable here at the moment.
Oh, you wait till I have another chat with Jenny later on in the quiet. Well, you're in trouble. But the main thing is just to recognize, with what we've done today, we've had a bit of fun with it. That's what you should be doing all the time. Respect the person you're reading because you want to build a relationship with them. That's why we do it. We don't do it to manipulate or anything else. It's how do I build that relationship? And that's why all my work at the moment is going into helping parents understand their kids and also helping people to recognize if they are in a situation that could be going into coercive control long before that stuff happens. So if you go to my website, have a good look through the blog section. You'll find some interesting articles in there. And thanks very much.
Fabulous. Excellent. Thank you for that, Alan. Were there any questions there? I was just sort of whipping through chat there to see whether there's any questions in there, but to save me the trouble, has anyone sort of got any burning questions before we sort of wrap it up tonight? And I have to say, Alan, you did a sensational job, particularly with the tech issues that happened at the beginning. We had that all solved before you came on, and then it just sort of flipped, as soon as we went live. So all credit to you for actually sort of keeping yourself under control and calm. And
thank you. As I said to you earlier on, just because I'm paranoid does not mean the technology is not out to get me.
That's right.
I worked that one out a long time ago.
Excellent. All right, so what have we got? Monica, did you have a question there? I know all the questions are just popping up here. Let's have a look. Oh, how did you know I was adventurous? Monica was saying.
Okay, it's in the cheekbones, the same as Jenny's got them as well. If I was went into a group and didn't know anybody there, and I was at a party, for instance, I was talking to Jenny, and I didn't know where to start the conversation. The first thing I'm going to ask her is, do you like, where was your last holiday? Do you like traveling overseas? And usually that will get the conversation going. very quickly. If I can see somebody, I can't see it from the face on, but from the side on the shape of the ears, if someone's got a music trait, then I'll ask them about the music they like. So the facial features not only tell me how to present to them, it tells me how to get a conversation going with them in the way that the things that they're interested in. And the traits will give that away every time.
The interesting question there by Jenny, who asks, on the balance between personality and character, how can you be sure you're right and character developments have not balanced out personality?
Well, this is why the personality traits don't change overnight. And if I can see an older photo of you and you see you today, or even or a photo of you today, the development of the facial features will tell me how your personality has changed over that time. It will give me a good idea of your life and what you've been through. So somebody who's got the little wrinkles, and by the way, ladies, these little lines up there, the humor lines, the laughter lines, where they talk about beauty only being skin deep and ugly going all the way to the bone, those lines are beauty that goes all the way to the bone. You don't get those unless you either work in the sun and you're squinting all the time, or you have a joyful life when you're really happy, like that second smile I showed you on the sheet before, the Dusame smile. The muscles around the eyes go really tight, form these little wrinkles out here, and that only happens when you're really feeling joy. You've got to have felt that all your life. At the same time, if the corner of the mouth is turned up, I know that happy all your life and have been happy now. If the mouth is turned down, but the lines are here, I know that recently life has been on the tough side and you've been frowning a lot more. So this gives it away, but the character itself is in the different way in which they operate. That's why the communication, the conversation, and the body language and the micro expressions at the end that give you feedback as if something's changed. So I look at your face, I know how to change the way I like to be spoken to match the way you need to be spoken to. The feedback from the body language and expressions then tell me, did I read you right? Is there something emotionally going on? And are you telling the truth? But that second one, not as a lie detector, but as a truth seeker. Because what I've done in the Campfire Project, if somebody has done, give me that, then I will then ask some questions to find out what's going on and help them through it. And if I'm doing a sale, I'll drop the sale. I'll help them through that. If we've got time, we'll go back to the sale. If not, I know we'll reconvene at another time. But that person knows my whole focus was on them all the way through. But it's the variations. That's why I put the 4 sciences together and created rapid trait profiling.
Wow, that's amazing.
I see Josie Fisher has just come into the screen there with David. I suspect that they're looking for some relationship counselling as well. There's another question there from Jody. I'm a real estate agent and people tend to tell me so much stuff in detail. Is that because I have an authoritative face?
You'll find that people, if they trust you, they see you as an authority, they're going to be drawn to you to start with. There's also the shape of your eyebrows. They don't go up at an angle. They're following the line of your glasses, because you can't see them through the glasses. So as you can, now pretty much the same shape as the glasses. They go out, but they go around a little bit. So good at organising people at events. You connect with people really quickly. And I can see with the shape of your lips as well, the size of them, you have a tendency of giving your time and energy to people and sometimes gives too much and leave yourself empty. So you learn how to teach people how to fish. Don't just give them a fish every time.
Fabulous.
Pull back on that, yeah.
Excellent. So I'm sure that we could probably spend another hour or so here unraveling all of our traits and sort of understanding ourselves a little bit better. But that was a fascinating look into, how you can learn so much just by looking at people's faces and their expressions. So thank you, Ellen, for coming in and sharing this. Might have to get you back again just to give us some readings here. I'm fascinated with some of the other people here that have now got worried expressions on their face. Excellent. All right. Look, if people do want to contact you, obviously through alanstevens.com.au, the link is in the chat. If you want to save the chat now's probably a good time just so you don't forget at the end, which is those three little dots in the top right-hand corner of chat. You can save it. And while you're doing that, we do have a door prize tonight as well too, and that's kindly donated by yourself there, Alan. Tell us what the door prize is.
It's the Business Essentials Fast Start course. It goes into 8 or 7 traits with a variation on one, where you'll be able to go in, learn how to read those traits with the downloadable sheet so that you can then go and practice that. And once you finish that course, if you're interested, then that can be upgraded to the 3-step program, which is where you send me your photographs, I do your profile, and we actually work on how you talk to a few people you want to improve relationships with. But it's only the course itself is online, self-paced. If you get stuck into it, you get it done in a couple of hours. I always recommend to people, it's in modules. Set up with a cup of tea, cup of coffee or whatever, do a module, have a cup of tea another time, have another module and work through it that way. But go out and practice what you learn in there.
Fabulous. So if you're interested in that, that is on alanstevens.com/courses. And we've got one lucky person going to win it here tonight. So remember, you have to be in the room to win it. So don't go away. So yes, we can bring up that wheel of names. We're ready to spin the wheel. All right, let's spin the wheel, see who our lucky winner is. And let's look at the expression on each person's face to see who thinks that they are going to be the winner. Jenny just missed out. It is Jody that's hit her at the post there. Well done.
I was manifesting that.
Well, that was only fair, really. Since we've had our relationship counselling, we don't need that anymore. So, Jody, you're the lucky winner. And sort of with your work there, it's probably really helpful, isn't it?
Totally.
Yeah, so, Jody,
Fabulous.
just send me a
Excellent.
message and I'll put you onto the platform for you.
Awesome. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Excellent. And we'll connect you up by email tomorrow as well.
Yeah.
So you get hold of that coming on tonight, and for persisting through those tech issues as well too. It was well worth it in the end to listen to what you had to tell us tonight. So thank you. If you want to see this again, if there's some things in there that you think, oh, I missed that, or you'd like to go over it again, it will be up on the Smash Go YouTube channel by tomorrow. YouTube channel to come and have a look at the video as well too, or anyone else you think might be interested in it as well. So you feel free to share that with them. And of course, if you're not a member of the Business Owners Smashing It Online Facebook group and you want to watch it tonight, it was live streamed in there tonight as well. So you can go and sort of catch up on it quickly, plus those cool online tools as well too. All right, well, look, that is our session for tonight. Thank you, everyone, for coming along. Thank you, Alan, for sharing with us. I look forward to seeing you all again next week. Have a good night. Thank you for tuning in and listening to the Business Owners Smashing It Online podcast. You can also find me on social media and online. Just search for Business Owners Smashing It Online and Nick Cree, spelled Nikree, all one word. If you like this and want to hear more, subscribe now. Until next time, don't be a slave to your business. Get your business working for you.